Hello, English learners. Welcome back to English Pod. My name is Marco.
And I'm Erica.
And we're going to be looking at our 5th episode of our famous love story.
Yes, I'm sorry I love you.
Okay. Part 5. So if you haven't listened to the first 4, I suggest you go do that first because...
You're going to be a little bit lost.
But it's getting really good.
Yeah, and so good that I don't think we can even say...
What's going to happen next.
No, we can't say what the key language is.
Oh, yeah, we can't preview anything because it's we want to surprise you.
Yes.
But we can tell you this. What's going on?
The last time we saw Veronica and Steven, they broke up, right?
Right.
And Veronica was with her friend and feeling really terrible. And then Steven suddenly came to sing a beautiful song.
So this is continuing on that.
Right.
Okay. So let's listen to the dialogue and then we'll come back and talk about some of the difficult vocabulary we might find.
Honey, of course I forgive you. I love you so much. I've really missed you. I was wrong to get upset over nothing.
I'm sorry I haven't called or anything, but right after you decided you wanted a break, I was up north to put out some major forest fires. I was in the middle of nowhere working day and night trying to prevent the blaze from spreading. It was pretty intense.
Oh, honey, I'm glad you're okay, but I have some exciting news. I think I'm pregnant.
Really? Wow, that's amazing. This is great news. I've always wanted to be a father. We'll go to the doctor first thing in the morning.
We have your test results back, and indeed, you are pregnant. Let's see here. Everything seems to be in order. Your approximate due date is October 27th, 2009, so that means the baby was conceived on February 3rd, 2009.
Are you sure? Are these things accurate?
Well, yes, sir, they are.
What's wrong? Why are you asking these questions?
This baby isn't mine. I was away the first week of February at a training seminar.
No, it can't be.
All right, so more drama in our love story.
Oh my God.
Things were going well and now more bad news.
Yeah, or good news.
Or good news. We're not sure yet.
Yeah.
Okay, let's take a look at the vocabulary first in language takeaway.
Language takeaway.
Well, we're going to look at 4 words now. The first one, blaze.
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 So this noun is another word for a fire, right?
For a big fire.
Yeah, a really big fire.
The blaze. So basically it's like the flame of the fire.
Yes. This one is a little bit difficult, so I think we can use some examples to show us how to use this word.
Example 1.
The blaze is spreading quickly. We need to evacuate these people.
Example 2.
We have to go in there and save those people from the blaze.
Okay, so it's clear now. Blaze. Let's look at our next word. Conceived.
Conceived.
The past of conceive.
Right, conceive.
Conceive is a nice fancy word.
Yes. And what does it mean, Marco?
To create.
Oh, like how you sidestepped around that one.
So it means to create. You can conceive a baby.
Yes.
You can conceive an idea.
Yes.
So it basically means to create.
Yes. Most commonly with the baby, though,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, conceive. So after the baby was conceived,
Yep.
we have a due date.
Yes.
We all know that it's 9 months later,
Yes, so-
approximately.
Yep. Due dates.
So the due date is the date of birth, basically.
It's the doctor's guess when the birth would be.
Would be, okay.
Yep. When you go to the doctor and say, oh, when will my baby be born? He'll say, oh, well, your due date is blah, blah, blah.
9 months later.
Yep.
Okay. And our last word in language takeaway, accurate.
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 Now, the due dates aren't accurate.
You're right.
That means they're not 100% sure or precise.
Yes. So when something is accurate, it's absolutely certain.
Absolutely precise.
Yes.
100%. Okay, so accurate. Let's listen to some more examples of how we can use accurate.
Example 1.
A blood test is the most accurate way of finding out if you are pregnant.
Example 2.
These reports are not accurate, John. We checked and discovered a lot of mistakes.
Example 3.
This new software helps us calculate costs in a very accurate way.
With those examples, I think we're ready to listen to this dialogue again. This time we're going to slow it down, right?
Yeah, in case you were so shocked by what happened that you couldn't follow.
Honey, of course I forgive you. I love you so much. I've really missed you. Please forgive me. I was wrong to get upset over nothing.
I'm sorry I haven't called or anything. But right after you decided you wanted a break, I was called up north to put out some major forest fires. I was in the middle of nowhere, working day and night, trying to prevent the blaze from spreading. It was pretty intense.
Oh, honey, I'm glad you're okay. But I have some exciting news. I think I'm pregnant.
Really? Wow, that's amazing! This is great news. I've always wanted to be a father. We'll go to the doctor first thing in the morning.
We have your test results back, and indeed, you are pregnant. Let's see here. Everything seems to be in order. Your approximate due date is October 27th, 2009. So that means the baby was conceived on February 3rd, 2009.
Are you sure? Are these things accurate?
Well, yes, sir, they are.
What's wrong? Why are you asking these questions?
This baby isn't mine. I was away the first week of February at a training seminar.
No, it can't be.
All right, so continuing on with our drama, let's take a look at some interesting phrases in Fluency Builder.
Fluency Builder.
Well, we've got 3 phrases for you. The first one is the middle of nowhere.
Middle of nowhere.
Middle of nowhere.
Middle of nowhere.
This is a kind of a funny one, but I think if we listen to some examples, it will help us to understand the meaning of this phrase.
Example 1.
We are in the middle of nowhere. How can we find our way back home?
Example 2.
I was in the middle of nowhere, so I couldn't even use my mobile phone.
Example 3.
It takes me 2 hours to drive to your house. It's in the middle of nowhere.
All right, so middle of nowhere, it means that you are lost.
Yeah, you're in a place with no cities or people or anything nearby.
Okay, so just imagine yourself in a desert. That would be the middle of nowhere.
Yes, or in Canada.
Canada.
That would be the middle of nowhere.
All right, let's take a look at our next phrase. First thing in the morning.
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 So when we talk about the first thing, it means
Really, really early in the morning.
really early.
Yep.
So I can change it a little bit and say first thing in the afternoon
Early in the afternoon.
or first thing tomorrow morning,
Right.
right?
So really early tomorrow.
Okay. So it's a very common way of referring to very early.
Yeah, it's not like first thing in the morning is like 6 o'clock in the morning,
Right,
right?
no.
But if you say, okay, I'll take care of that first thing in the morning, You'll do it right away in the morning.
Right away. Right when you get to the office, for
Right.
example.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's look at our last phrase. Seems to be in order.
Seems to be in order.
Everything seems to be in order.
So everything is okay. Everything's normal.
Everything seems to be normal.
Yep.
Everything looks okay.
Yes.
So this is a very common phrase when people check your documents
Yeah,
or a
that's
report.
true. Yep.
They'll say, okay, all the papers seem to be in order. Very common.
Yes. Good news when you're pregnant that everything seems to be in order.
Exactly.
Yep.
Everything is normal. All right, so let's listen to this dramatic dialogue one more time and we'll come back and talk some more.
Honey, of course I forgive you. I love you so much. I've really missed you. I was wrong to get upset over nothing.
I'm sorry I haven't called or anything, but right after you decided you wanted a break, I was up north to put out some major forest fires. I was in the middle of nowhere working day and night trying to prevent the blaze from spreading. It was pretty intense.
Oh, honey, I'm glad you're okay, but I have some exciting news. I think I'm pregnant.
Really? Wow, that's amazing. This is great news. I've always wanted to be a father. We'll go to the doctor first thing in the morning.
We have your test results back, and indeed, you are pregnant. Let's see here. Everything seems to be in order. Your approximate due date is October 27th, 2009, so that means the baby was conceived on February 3rd, 2009.
Are you sure? Are these things accurate?
Well, yes, sir, they are.
What's wrong? Why are you asking these questions?
This baby isn't mine. I was away the first week of February at a training seminar.
No. It can't be.
Well, Marco, what do you think about this situation? What would you do if you were this guy?
It's complicated.
I know.
I don't know what I would do. It seems like something very typical of soap operas.
Yes.
Well, I don't know because she didn't really deny it in the end. She didn't say no right away.
Yeah, but she didn't say like, oh.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
didn't really accept it. So
Yeah.
it's still a little bit difficult to see if maybe she cheated on him or
Yes.
something.
Hey guys, what do you think? Do you think Veronica cheated on Stephen?
Do you think it's his baby? Maybe it's not. Maybe the doctor is wrong.
Maybe it's the doctor's baby.
Maybe it's
In contemporary Western society, love is often portrayed as a journey filled with romantic passion, yet inevitably eroded by the pressures of reality. Once, their love was pure and fervent, as warm and bright as the first light of dawn. Looking back on those early days, they had strolled through New York streets on warm summer evenings and watched the sunset together in small European towns. Their laughter and whispers seemed to herald a beautiful future. Yet, as time passed, the once enchanting details began to be eroded by life's trivialities. As in many Western love stories, the passion eventually waned, leaving behind mounting misunderstandings and a widening gap. They met on a romantic autumn day, when the male protagonist was ascending in his career, and the female protagonist was full of idealism and gentle hopes for life. At a gathering with friends, his maturity, steadiness, and humor quickly captivated her, while her unique gentleness and emotional sensitivity won his heart. In those early days, they shared everything, discussing their dreams for the future. The open, adventurous spirit of American culture gave him the courage to pursue his dreams, while the European emphasis on rationality and stability gave her a gentle but steadfast belief in what lay ahead. Together, they discussed literature, film, and art in cafes, wandered through parks, and poured their hearts out in the rain, as if they were the only two people in the world. But as passion dimmed, subtle differences in their outlooks and future plans began to emerge. Here's the improved translation incorporating the expert suggestions. In the United States, The fast-paced lifestyle and intense competition lead people to devote most of their energy to their careers. The male protagonist is constantly running between meetings and projects, with professional success becoming his primary life goal, which gradually leads him to overlook the female protagonist's need for emotional connection. During those quiet late nights, he's often buried in work emails and reports, unable to share his feelings with her right away. Meanwhile, the female protagonist holds idealized expectations about love, yearning more for tender promises and genuine emotional expression. To her, love isn't just about passion but a sustained experience of mutual support and care in everyday life. When the male protagonist comes home late from work, she quietly builds up feelings of loss and doubt, wondering if he's growing distant. It's in this cycle of disappointment and suspicion that their initial sweetness gradually gives way to silence and conflict. The cultural differences between Western societies also unintentionally intensify these tensions. Americans tend to show their feelings through actions, believing that being busy and quiet doesn't mean they don't care. It's just a different way of expressing themselves. On the other hand, European culture puts more emphasis on verbal nuance and emotional sincerity. Influenced by this background, the female protagonist expects the male protagonist to actually say, "I love you," or "I care about you," rather than just showing his worth through work. When she asks for more emotional connection, he often responds with "everything I do is for our future," an answer that feels cold and distant to her. Over time, she takes his busyness and silence to mean he's falling out of love, and this misunderstanding just makes their communication problems worse. Here's the improved translation incorporating the expert suggestions. In real life, such misunderstandings don't form overnight, but build up through countless small fights, silent treatments, and pent-up frustrations. After each argument, both retreat into silence, yet their doubts and mistrust quietly grow deeper. The man often feels the woman blows small oversights out of proportion, while she believes he constantly uses work as an excuse to avoid facing her true feelings. This cycle of blame and stubbornness keeps either from truly opening up, and the misunderstandings pile up like bricks in an invisible wall, growing until it becomes impossible to climb. The American drive for personal success encourages valuing independence in relationships, while European traditions put family and togetherness first. When these two mindsets clash, conflict and distance are inevitable. As the man chases his dreams, he fails to give the woman the companionship she needs, and her longing for warmth meets only silence. This imbalance pulls them further apart. Through all their daily fights and cold shoulders, they slowly lose the trust they once had. After every quarrel, the man feels he's done his best, but the woman, weighed down by loneliness and smoldering resentment, finds it harder to move on. Once inseparable, they're now left with silence and unspoken bitterness. Both keep trying to figure out what went wrong, but their heated emotions block any resolution. At night, the man remembers their tender moments, only to be snapped back to their painful reality. The woman cries alone, wondering if she should still stay. This inner turmoil sends their relationship spiraling toward its end, as the shadow of a breakup overshadows their once bright love. Though both had deeply loved each other, the pressures of reality, their respective upbringings, and cultural differences left them unable to find common ground. The American emphasis on opportunity and adventure meant the male protagonist preferred to take action to solve problems, while the female protagonist, shaped by European culture, craved more subtle emotional connection and immediate reassurance. These differences intensified their daily conflicts, with each Cold War in silence leaving deeper emotional scars. Over time, minor disagreements that could once have been resolved through communication grew more complex, ultimately becoming insurmountable divides. This is often how love stories turn tragic, through gradual buildup, as once passionate flames are slowly extinguished by misunderstandings, leaving only lingering regret and heartache. Caught in this tension, both found themselves torn by inner conflict. The male protagonist, caught up in his busy life, began questioning his choices, realizing he'd prioritized career over his partner's emotional needs. Meanwhile, the female protagonist, struggling with loneliness and disappointment, kept wondering whether her expectations were too high or if he'd truly grown distant. In Western societies, independence and self-fulfillment matter greatly, yet genuine love requires sincere communication and mutual understanding. As they faced these irreconcilable differences, Even their sweetest memories seemed to fade away. Though both longed to recapture what they once had, reality only deepened their scars, making their relationship seem increasingly unfixable. After going through cycle after cycle of heated arguments and cold shoulders, they each fell into deep loneliness and heartache. The man started wondering if he'd lost sight of what really mattered in his career pursuit, while the woman kept recalling those tender moments, wondering if she'd ever really gotten the love she wanted. It was amidst these mounting conflicts that they finally reached an emotional turning point. A clear dividing line quietly formed, sending their once connected lives in different directions. Their once sweet, hopeful love had now been chipped away by daily routines and growing misunderstandings. The following section will continue to explore how, when misunderstandings and conflicts reached their peak, the two would lead to honest emotional breakthroughs at a critical juncture. In a dramatic turn of events, they would begin attempting to rediscover how much they meant to each other and the warmth they used to have together. After their long, painful separation and silent standoff, they each sank into loneliness and self-reflection. The male protagonist was constantly on the move in the bustling city, his world consumed by endless meetings and projects. Yet in the quiet of night, unspoken apologies and guilt toward the female protagonist weighed heavily on his heart. He began recalling their warm moments together, how she'd whispered her dreams for the future during an evening walk, or how she'd thrown a warm coat over his shoulders on a cold winter night, a kindness that made him feel they could conquer anything together. Now those memories were overshadowed by their cold reality and mutual misunderstandings. He gradually realized that in his single-minded focus on work, he'd neglected her emotional needs, letting distance grow between them unnoticed until it became irreparable. Meanwhile, the female protagonist would sit alone by the window night after night, watching the city lights dim outside while memories of sweet nothings and tender smiles lingered in her heart. She kept wondering what went wrong between them. Were her expectations too high, or had the male protagonist truly grown cold? In the stillness, she often remembered their cafe conversation when his eyes had shone with affection, making her feel treasured by the whole world. Now he routinely dismissed her attempts to connect, claiming busyness. Loneliness seeped in like winter drafts, eroding her faith in love until she questioned whether their passion had been just a passing flame, leaving only emptiness behind. The festering conflicts through sleepless nights finally forced her painful decision to leave the man who once set her heart racing. Just as pain and confusion filled their hearts, a random moment broke their silence. That evening on the subway home, an old love song's familiar melody unlocked long-buried memories like a key. Suddenly every shared moment came rushing back to him. He realized he'd misunderstood her needs. She hadn't wanted daily sweet talk, just simple care amid his busy life. This revelation ignited a burning need to set things right. He resolved to close the distance through his actions, to show both his remorse and his never-ending love for her. Meanwhile, with her friend's encouragement, she began to take another look at their relationship. She gradually realized that while their past fights and silent treatments had hurt her, they also showed the real love that once existed between them. She came to understand that his silence wasn't because he didn't care, but because he struggled to express his guilt and regret. Through this reflection, she stopped holding on to grudges about little things and started hoping for his care and devotion again. At a friend's gathering, they finally met again. That evening, the relaxed atmosphere filled with familiar laughter and conversation helped them reconnect. When he approached her, his eyes showing both doubt and resolve, he said softly, "I've been wondering if we misunderstood each other." Her eyes showed a moment of tenderness as she replied, "I often think about how crazy in love we used to be." In that moment, all their past conflicts seemed to fade with the good memories. No longer hiding their real feelings behind words, they opened up honestly, sharing their hurts and regrets. He talked about missing chances to be with her because he was always so busy, while she shared how she'd wished for just a kind word during lonely nights. As they talked, they rediscovered that pure connection, their fractured memories slowly healing through understanding. They didn't rush to get back together, but kept talking through calls and texts, truly opening their hearts to each other. Each conversation showed them the warmth still shining in each other's eyes, making them realize forgiveness and a fresh start might be what their relationship needed. He began writing down his true feelings, reflecting on past mistakes and future hopes. She confided in friends, letting go of resentment as she understood the struggles behind his busyness. Through these talks, they both saw that love shouldn't be defined by past fights, but could be reborn through patience and understanding. Here's the improved translation incorporating the expert suggestions. In romantic relationships, emotional conflicts often arise from unresolved misunderstandings, yet these very struggles make love more authentic and precious. They gradually realize that true love isn't just about passion, but also the courage to embrace each other and rebuild trust after weathering storms. He learns to ease his single-minded focus on work, making time in his busy schedule to share life with her. She, in turn, grows more understanding, recognizing that his apparent indifference isn't intentional, but stems from complicated feelings he couldn't express. Their change didn't come all at once, but unfolded through honest conversations and mutual patience. That late-night talk, that tender apology, became the moment things changed. Slowly, they began accepting each other's flaws and working toward a future together, even if it meant moving past their arguments and hard feelings. Through ongoing communication and personal growth, they rediscovered their old connection and warmth. The heated fights born from misunderstandings now seemed a necessary part of their journey. Only after these setbacks did they learn forgiveness and rethink what they meant to each other. Romantic relationships often brim with intensity and struggles, and forgiveness proved the best remedy for wounded hearts. They discovered that only when they were able to move past their mistakes and be open with each other could their love reignite. They stopped taking every fight so personally, instead seeing each as a chance to grow and make their future together easier. This shift didn't just alter how they approached love, it subtly reshaped their outlook on life. He realized that while his career mattered, losing love and family connections cost too much. She learned to balance compassion with reason, no longer taking his silence personally, but meeting his struggles with a more understanding approach. After really talking things through, they decided to give their relationship another chance. Though the future wasn't certain, they believed that by communicating openly and healing their wounds with love, forgiveness could become the base to build their happiness on. Through all the pain and struggles they endured, they'd lost their way for a while, but these very setbacks made them cherish genuine emotions all the more. Every loving look, every honest conversation helped them rediscover how much they needed and trusted each other. That time became like a cleansing, allowing their souls to gradually merge through all their clashes. Whether it was the male protagonist walking alone on empty early morning streets or the female protagonist crying quietly at night, both pondered the possibilities of the future in their solitude, hoping they'd find their way back to each other. Through this continuous self-reflection and communication, they came to realize that true love requires not only the spark of passion but needs to be nurtured with patience and understanding. Now they've resolved to cast aside past grievances and embrace each other with more open hearts, bringing new hope and energy to their future together. With each deepening conversation, they gradually learned how to find chances to forgive each other when they fought, and how to find their way back to real connection when they felt distant. The male protagonist began showing he'd changed through what he did, striving to balance work and life, making time to accompany the female protagonist, and sharing little moments that made life special. The female protagonist, too, stopped being so defensive, learning to offer encouragement and understanding when apologies were expressed. As they opened up to each other, they found a path toward forgiveness, understanding that only through mutual acceptance and empathy could their shattered relationship be mended. Even if the future remains uncertain and challenging, they're willing to face it together, starting fresh with trust and love. The following section will continue to explore how the two rebuild trust on the foundation of forgiveness, and how this experience would shape their lives ahead. After a long period of arguments and cold silence, they finally faced the emotional scars and confusion in each other's hearts during this quiet time. Those days found them immersed in solitude and reflection, as if the whole world was holding its breath for a turning point. Late at night, the man would often wander the streets alone, wondering what he'd sacrificed between career and love. Meanwhile, the woman spent countless lonely nights recalling their tender moments, her eyes shining with tears that held both hurt and hope. It was in this silence and self-reflection that they gradually realized their past quarrels stemmed from unexpressed feelings, that the real barrier wasn't their indifference to each other, but their own stubborn pride and unacknowledged fears. They came to understand that love's essence wasn't constant passion, but the strength to weather life's storms together. One day when the man worked up the courage to call, her voice, gentle but trembling, on the other end betrayed her loneliness and desperate hope. He opened up about what he'd been thinking, admitting he'd neglected her emotional needs while pursuing career success and wishing he'd given her the attention and care she needed from him. Though wounded by their many arguments, the woman found herself moved by treasured memories she'd kept close to her heart. Her voice soft, she admitted that while past misunderstandings had hurt, she still cherished their warm moments together and yearned to feel that sincere love again. Their conversation contained no heated defenses, only honest self-reflection and mutual understanding. For the first time, they vulnerably shared their deepest fears and regrets, no longer hiding their fragility, but courageously confronting the emotions damaged by misunderstanding. Together, they tried to rebuild the understanding and warmth they'd once shared. Through several deep conversations over phone calls and in person, they gradually understood that forgiveness wasn't just about overlooking past mistakes, but about choosing to let go of pride and face reality with courage. He suggested they try to redefine their relationship, not letting old arguments control their future happiness. She also recognized that her oversensitive reactions had made things worse between them, and now she was willing to put aside those blown out of proportion misunderstandings to give them both a fresh start. They agreed that from now on, whenever disagreements came up, they'd first calm down, listen to each other, and then work together to find solutions, rather than letting their emotions run the show. This new understanding not only gave them hope for fixing their mistakes, but also gave new life to their once broken relationship through patience and understanding. Rebuilding trust wasn't easy, but through constant communication and opening up to each other, they slowly rediscovered their connection. He started making more time outside work to be with her, going back to their favorite spots together, trying to show his commitment through actions. She learned to manage her emotions better, no longer seeing his silence as indifference but understanding the stress he was dealing with. Their relationship changed through repeated support and forgiveness as they began making new plans, not seeing past hurts as obstacles anymore, but as lessons that helped them love each other better. During this process of emotional rebuilding, they gradually came to understand that love itself is a journey of compromise and acceptance. Though life is full of unexpected challenges and stress, as long as both are willing to share responsibilities and truly listen to each other, they can overcome their differences and rediscover the tenderness they once shared. Every conversation and every loving look reignited the spark between them, revealing the possibility of facing life's challenges together. While American and European cultures differ, both require the same courage and wisdom when it comes to love, where forgiveness and understanding bridge emotional gaps. In their story, forgiveness becomes more than just making up. It's the power that heals and reunites two wounded hearts, the determination to choose trust and shared commitment despite life's hardships. As their honest communication gradually dissolved past misunderstandings, they began to map out a new life together. The man promised to adjust his work pace so life wouldn't be consumed by busyness, while the woman expressed her willingness to lower her defenses and patiently understand his true feelings. They hoped not only to recapture their past warmth, but to establish a new way of being together, one that balanced personal growth with shared responsibilities. Their mutual forgiveness lit the way forward, and though the future remained uncertain, they believed that by facing it honestly and together, love could get them through anything. Through this journey, they came to deeply understand that every relationship carries its own unique scars and marks of growth. Love is never smooth sailing. It grows stronger and more precious through constant compromise and adjustment. After countless emotional clashes and inner struggles, they finally learned how to find common ground in conflict and rebuild trust from misunderstandings. These experiences not only helped them know themselves better, but also showed them that true love takes work from both sides. In Western relationships, independence and personal success matter, but just as crucial is honest communication and emotional support, the real glue that holds relationships together. Forgiveness doesn't just heal old wounds, it lays the groundwork for a happy future together. After their long emotional struggle, they decided to move forward together, facing every new challenge with patience and understanding. Even with an uncertain future ahead, it was their refusal to give up and the love they still carried for each other that finally brought them out of the darkness. From now on, they'd work on their relationship, turning past conflicts into fuel for growth rather than walls between them, starting fresh together. After all their fights, reflections, and forgiveness, they realized real love isn't just about passion and romance. It's about choosing to forgive, speaking honestly, and sharing life's burdens together. Through this ongoing process of looking inward and supporting each other, they rebuilt lost trust and rediscovered forgotten tenderness, making forgiveness their relationship's greatest strength. This journey didn't just make them wiser in love, it gave them a solid foundation for the future, proving that when life gets hard, love can find a way back if both people are willing to listen and be patient with each other. Ultimately, they walked hand in hand into the future, letting forgiveness heal past misunderstandings and scars, as they built a new chapter together filled with understanding, trust, and hope. Through this journey, they learned not only how to navigate their disagreements, but also discovered that at life's every turning point, compromise and open communication are what truly matter. In contemporary culture that values personal achievements and freedom, people equally understand how delicate relationships can be and the importance of forgiveness. Their story stands as living proof that in our complex modern world, only through genuine understanding, courage to face mistakes, and loving forgiveness can relationships keep love strong and bright. What matters most is that this experience helped them rediscover what made them happy before while charting a new path forward. One where they share responsibilities and pursue happiness together. That love, tested by hardship yet still shining, gave them the confidence and hope they needed to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Thanks for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed this episode and gained some new insights. Don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss any future episodes. See you next time.